Now, do you remember a couple of weeks ago you heard how we discussed the story that motorway tailgaters and middle lane hoggers could face quick justice with on-the-spot penalties under new measures proposed by the government? Indeed, from next month now, police could issue £100 fines and 3 points for what they deem to be careless driving offences that would normally have gone to court. During that discussion, we received this call from Alan in Woodford.
Sometimes I feel like I'm forced to drive in the middle lane. I really need to have a refresh. Yes.
If this show was to arrange for you to take a driving test one day next week or the week after, would you do it?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean...
Right, that's it. Done. Sometimes I feel forced. No, you're not. How can you feel forced to drive in the middle lane? Well, the weekend just around the corner, a lot of you taking to the roads, a lot of motoring going on, and also, funnily enough, in the report today, that when it comes to Europe, the ability of British drivers, unfortunately, is sliding down the European League table. We decided it was a good time to take that test. It happened yesterday, and our reporter, LBC 97.3's Tom Swarbrick, got behind the wheel with Alan.
You've been driving for how long?
I've been driving in total for 27 years now. I'm quite confident I know the roads, and I've seen how, driving has changed over the years.
We're going to go out now and do a little drive round, because part of the conversation you had with Nick was saying that you weren't, or perhaps didn't come across as 100% confident of some of the codes of the highway.
Yeah, I wanted to relay my honesty that I've been driving for 27 years, and I was interested to see whether I'm up to the current standard of driving ability.
Well, we've got just the man to test that. Can I introduce you to Mr. Reynolds? You are a driving instructor. You are the director of GreatDrive.com.
We're going to take Alan out and see what his driving skills are like currently.
And this is a proper test, a proper test that you can give a pass or fail at the end depending on what happens.
That's right. Yeah, to be quite honest with you, the current test standard's very, very high. So when Alan took his test, if I compare what people have to do on driving tests now, is really, really tough. So I wouldn't want to take my driving test now, and I'm a fully qualified instructor.
Well, gentlemen, there's no time like the present. Shall we start our engines and get ourselves going?
Yeah, let's go for it. Is there going to be any trick questions or any trick requests, like, do a left turn here, and you know for a fact that left turn is not allowed in there because there's no entry?
Right, Alan. How it works is because it'd be a government driving test, obviously there wouldn't be any trick questions. It is all about trying to find out where you're at in terms of, are you a safe driver on the road?
Okay.
I'm nervous, Alan, are you?
I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm going to try my best.
Right, start your engine, sir, if that's all right.
Okay, yep. What I'd like you to do is, if you just move off from here, so basically I just want you to drive as you normally would, and then I'll be marking you down as we go along.
Oh, it's tense.
Just secure the car for a second, and then just switch off the engine. Right, I'm just going to tell you now, you have just failed your driving test.
Whoa, hang on, we're like 30 seconds in.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. You didn't do any observations at all, you just pulled straight out. What if there'd been a car or a motorbike actually coming down the road at the time? The current driving test would expect you to do this, basically what's called a 6-point check. So you'd start off from the side that you're parked on, and you'd look over your blind spot, like that. And you look in your mirror, look straight ahead, check this mirror, that mirror, look over your blind spot before moving off. You didn't do any of that at all, so an examiner would nail you straight away. Okay. So, did you want to do another one?
Alan, what do you make of that? I mean, that's literally 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm very, very surprised. Yeah, but like I said, I'm going to, be as honest as I can.
Yep.
So that the objective of this test, gives like true results.
Yeah.
But I don't mind having another go if you want to carry on.
Let's try it again, and if Mr. Reynolds, you can take us through it one more time, sir.
And he does, but as they say, what happened next? There's only one way to find out. Stay tuned to Alan's driving test, part 2, later in the show. Chuckling with me, it's Neil Wallace, media commentator, former newspaper editor. It's a smile on your face, isn't it?
What a great piece of radio.
Didn't even look out. Swarbrick survived, so there's a clue. Everybody lives.
Yeah, thank goodness for that.
Yes, indeed. Back to other stories, if you would, Neil. Now, I know you've been hanging on. Earlier we heard from Alan. Now, we sent him for a driving test because a few weeks ago he came on the line and he said he he's just forced to drive in the middle lane. He couldn't work out how anyone could avoid it. He's been driving for 27 years. He admitted perhaps his driving skills could do with a little bit of attention. So we took him off for a driving test. Well, here's what happened first.
I'm just going to tell you now, you have just failed your driving test.
Whoa, hang on, we're like 30 seconds in.
Yeah.
I don't mind having another go if you want to carry on.
Let's try it again, and if Mr. Reynolds, you can take us through it one more time, sir.
So the other voice you heard is LBC 97.3 reporter Tom Swarbrick, who was safely on the back seat. Let's go back. Alan from Woodford with instructor Gary Reynolds. Tom's riding in the back. Alan of Woodford begins his second test.
With 30 seconds down the road from the previous test, we know about the 6-point checking of mirrors. If you don't mind, Mr. Reynolds, we'll start the engines,
Okay,
we'll get going on the road.
If we get going on the road, I'll be giving you directions. If I do see anything serious or dangerous, obviously I'll pull you over and I'll explain how that would have, what result that would be on a driving test. If I see that everything's fine, then I'll just be just giving you general directions and feedback.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'd like to do, continue straight ahead, and then when we get to the end of the road, turn left. Right. So drive on when you're ready. Oh, you've stopped already.
I stalled the car because we're on a hill.
It's all right, hill starts, they always get
excellent
people.
controlled stop, that one. Right, okay, you ready? And stop. That's literally what it's like, okay? And then the examiner would say, and then drive on when you're ready. So what would you think you would do next? Would you just drive off?
I don't know, actually. I have to make sure that, nothing or no one has been affected by the situation. There was a reason why I stopped, so I have to make sure that I've evaluated that.
Okay. How would you do that then?
Well, I'd have to, stop the car, switch it off, make sure it's in neutral, put the handbrake on, get out of the car and make sure that I haven't hit anyone or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea not to do that.
Right, we're pulling back in towards Alan's house now, and we're preparing ourselves for the verdict.
Nice bit of parking there, Alan.
That's good.
I've always thought that my parking is very good. Me and my wife, we always compete with each other whose parking's the best.
Before this verdict is delivered, Alan, do you think you're a good driver?
Well, I thought that my driving was always very good, because in our family there's a lot of people that drive. I feel a little bit bad as well that I'm not good enough. Should I be worrying?
Well, no. I mean, look. First of all, you've passed your driving test. So at the time, you demonstrated a competency to an examiner that you was at test standard.
If we take, let's disregard the opening 30 seconds, which I think we can all agree didn't go great. But overall, Mr. Reynolds, what would you have given in terms of minors, majors, faults, that kind of thing?
It was mainly majors.
Mainly majors?
Yeah. You had a dangerous fault, which was driving through a red light. At the time, you was tailgating another car, and that was your second tailgate for this morning.
I'd like to learn and move on, but it's really been an eye-opener for me. I honestly thought that, and I was overconfident, because everyone said that, are you very nervous? And I said, no, what have I got to be nervous about?
I don't want you thinking that you're the world's worst driver, because that's not the case.
Okay.
And that's certainly not my opinion.
Yeah.
However, you have done some what would be regarded as serious and dangerous faults.
Well, gents, look, thank you so much for taking part in the experiment this morning. I'm really glad that you
really enjoyed it.
were both able to do it. Thank you. And that we can make the roads safer.
Yes, definitely, and I'm going to take a lot of the key points that Gary mentioned today away with me, and keep it in mind that I should be looking around a lot more than I am now.
Thanks to Gary Reynolds and, of course, Tom Swarbrick for compiling that report on LBC 97.3. Well, let's go to Woodford's very own Alonso, or should that just be Alan? So, how did you do? Double tailgating, red lights, making sure you've not hit people. Alan, what's going on?
Oh my God! I feel awful. I feel awful.
Hey, listen. First up, thanks for being such a good sport. What have you learnt from it, Alan?
Well, one thing I've definitely learned is that over the years, we do get very comfortable with our driving style.
Yeah.
And during day-to-day life, we forget that we do need to get to work on time or get to anywhere else that we have to go on time, but we have to learn to be a bit more considerate, a bit more patient, and a bit more aware. Like I said, I've been driving for 27 years now, and it has changed so much out there, and I was very happy, to take part in this driving test. And like I said, it has been an eye-opener for me. I have learned a lot of things. I'm going to take away a lot of key points that Gary gave to me.
Good.
But I'm sure I'm not the only one.
You're not, mate. You're not. And the people chuckling now should think Alan was a good sport. He was prepared to do it, and there are many, many, many others who would not even have fared as well as you do. Alan, thank you so much. Many, many more years of happy and safe driving, sir. And thank you
very much.
Thank you, and thank you for being a good egg in regards to your family. Thank you. And by the way, if you're all sitting there so smart, right, 70 miles an hour, put together the thinking distance and the braking distance, how many metres or feet, or, as it's quite helpful to say, how many car lengths? 70 miles an hour in average road conditions, typical stopping distance, put together the thinking distance and the braking distance in metres or in feet, how many car lengths? And if you're on the M25, the M11, the M2, you might want to think about that. You will be surprised. Any guesses? Nowhere near car lengths. Nowhere near. There, it's not so easy, is it? Well done, perhaps, Alan.